Hey guys, Clint ClintArden.com, and of course, the House of Biceps. All right, guys, I'm here outside, actually earlier than normal. It's a little bit after 11 on Christmas Day. Got my Christmas jolly attire on. Just finished training. Um, I'm trying to give you guys an idea. There is a gentleman on Twitter. I'm a big fan of Twitter because I follow a lot of guys who lift, a lot of guys who are have really strong faith, and a lot of Kentucky basketball. I know that shocks everyone. But I use Twitter. I follow a lot of guys that lift, and this I'll call him a young man because I've got a lot of gray in my face, my beard, and my hair. What hair I have left, and uh, he's really inspiring. He likes to squat, he likes to deadlift, and recently he's taking up learning cleans. And I really, I get so excited waiting for him and a couple of other guys almost every day to post training videos of what's going on. And a lot of people have kind of bashed him for not being super strong. And I'm super inspired because this is somebody that's kicking tail, working hard. He's beginning, his journey in training. And how many people do you know? If you're watching, how many people do you know begin their journey in the gym with squats and deadlifts and cleans? That's so freaking rare, and I get so excited watching him train. And he posted online last week about doing power cleans, and some different people gave him a bunch of different advice here and there. And I just said, hey, if you're interested, I'll make a video of a couple things I think you can do to help you improve your power cleans. So I've had neurological issues for about 2 weeks, and I've had a lot of problems talking, much less moving. And this has been the first time I've been able to sit out here and kind of talk to you guys. So here we go, man. All right, man. So you just don't think that I'm just some random old fat guy on Twitter talking about this and that. Um, my first sports adventure was playing basketball when I was young. Moved to Taekwondo, earned 2 Junior Olympic bronze medals. Moved to open sports karate, where I was the number 2 ranked fighter in the United States for a long time. Beat the number 1 guy, but you got to beat them consistently to be ranked number 1 in a year. Um, had some injuries from fighting, as everyone does. Uh, got into the gym to rehab from that. Man, that spurred on a lot of things. I'm going to sneeze. But I wanted to be a bodybuilder. I'm not built to be a bodybuilder. I'm really tall. I've got really thick waist, big hands, big. All my joints are big. That wasn't going to work out. But I wanted to kind of train like a bodybuilder that was strong. Um, Towards the end of my college career, I got involved in strongman. I built a home gym in my parents' garage. Trained there. Competed in strongman. Became the first American to earn his pro card at a pro-am show. Competed all over the world in strongman. Began having a lot of health problems and backed away for a few years. Came back, did really well. Kind of retired. Got involved in powerlifting. I've had some pretty big lifts. 957 box squat. Um, I've benched 505, and I've deadlifted 821. I've deadlifted over 800. I don't know, 100 or more times, 200 times maybe. Um, got involved in the sport of weightlifting when I was 35. Kind of got away from strongman and involved in the sport of weightlifting, snatch and clean and jerk. Trained at the national, uh, with the national team here for a long time. Qualified for Worlds and Pan Americans at my first competition here. A legit IWF drug tested competition. Um, trained as a weightlifter for a long time, and then kind of got back in strongman. Went to Masters World's Strongest Man twice, placing 15th and 21st, I believe. And then just I've had a lot of health problems after that, and over the last over this year, 2025, since March, April, I've had a lot of neurological problems, um, and I've pretty much lost a lot of the function on the right side of my body, my hands, as well as the left side of my face. Sure, you can tell that. But you know what? I'm still training, still out here busting my tail. I was thinking about what I could tell you to work on with your power cleans. Um, and there are a lot of things that you're doing wrong, but I can watch a weightlifter on TV at the Olympics, and I can figure out things that they are doing wrong. I've had a gold medalist train with me in my gym, my little one platform, one squat rack gym. Olympic gold medalist, as well as I think Nort took 11th at the Olympics. His father, in my opinion, is the greatest weightlifter of all time. And he was training, picking out little things wrong with his technique. And the gold medalist that I'm speaking about, she was picking apart her own technique while she was training and fixing things. So doing things wrong, making mistakes is not really a mistake. It's stuff that happens. So let me back the camera away a little bit. Let me talk to you a little bit more. All right, so I'm sitting here. Obviously, you've got to have a trusty dog, right? This is Mr. Harley. He is internet famous. Mr. Harley's going to help me, I guess. He went inside because it was cold, but I guess he wanted to be outside to help with the video. So, say hi. Yeah, hi. Okay. Okay. With weightlifting, I want to. I mean, there are a lot of little things. Let's point out some things that are too complicated, and being complicated is the issue here. So, if I watched, look, my wife competes in weightlifting as well, and she's one of those freak of nature athletes. So after all the things that I've mentioned that I've done in my lifetime, she's done a lot more than I have. And she is one of those weightlifting athletes that'll train. She's trained for 3 weeks before and went to a competition like after a 9 month layoff and set PRs. Most recently, we went to Austria and we trained a little bit while we were in the States. She would get 2, maybe 3 training sessions in a week, which is nothing for a weightlifter. And then we came back here and she took a week and a half off because she was sick. Because we arrived here, she got on a plane the next day and had to fly off for work. Came right back. She had 1 day to rest and pack, and then we went to Austria and competed, walked away with PRs and a gold medal. So no training for like 2 weeks before. And as a coach, you have to coach that. You have to understand that the athlete is like this. And as a coach, you have to understand your athlete and how to coach them among all of the other things going on to still get them the best performance that they can get when they're on the platform. So if I looked at a bunch of little things that you're doing and I gave you a lot of things to work on, one, you're going to think, man, I am terrible. Clint just told me a ton of things that I'm terrible. I'm a terrible weightlifter. You're not. But if I pick out one thing that we can work on and improve, that's what I do with my wife and anyone else that I coach. We look at what just happened. You just did your set. And we step back, we sit down, and I think of one thing to fix on the next set. And we try that. If we don't fix it, we try it again. And if we can't fix it that day, we come back in the afternoon or we come back the next day and we try again. We don't do things incorrectly more than 3 times, because at that point, after you're doing something incorrectly or missing 3 times or more, you're kind of teaching yourself bad habits. We don't want to teach ourselves bad habits. We're not doing this for exercise. We're doing this because we want to get results. And there are lots of little things that I'm seeing while you're doing your cleans. A big one is, well, a weightlifter will have extremely tight erectors from, right along the spine, not spread out, but right along the spine, up into the traps, keeping the head in that perfect tight position all the way down to their pelvis, not their lats. Their lats are relaxed. They're driving with the legs, abs are tight. A lot of their body, especially the arms, are just hooks. And they have to stay relaxed at all times. You have to be tight to be able to drive up that heavy freaking weight. But if you watch a weightlifter, as they make that pull and that jump, they've got the hook grip going on. You need to make sure you're using hook grip. You can tape your thumbs if you want to. We do, because you're doing a bunch of reps in a day and you want to come back later and train in the afternoon and again tomorrow. And if you rip your thumbs to pieces, you can't do that. So a weightlifter will make that giant pull, and after the pull, the bar is free. They're not continuing to pull it up. The bar is not being pulled at all. At that point, the bar is rising on its own as they are dropping underneath it. So if you see someone miss a clean, it's because they didn't drop underneath it fast enough or pull it high enough to drop underneath it to the point where they can catch it. And as they pull, the bar is so free. As it comes up, hands open, and they catch it normally. So they release that hook grip, which is not easy to do. You release the hook grip and catch it like you normally would. I don't have the flexibility right now to be able to show you properly. So, there are little things like that to work on. I do want to point out that you're talking about a power clean and you're catching the bar right here at best. Where I'm sitting right now, is still a power clean. If I caught the bar right here, I'm still at a power clean. A power clean is any clean that you do where the hips are at or above the knees. No joke. Not saying what you're not doing is not acceptable for now, because you're catching it almost at the top. But we want to work at being able to get underneath it a little bit lower, a little bit lower, a little bit lower. Hope that makes sense. Hope that makes some sense. Okay, so what I want you to do when you go back in the gym, and this is a big thing. My first actual coach when I began lifting at the training hall here, there was an older man in his 60s. So he's 30 years older than me, roughly. And he had been a weightlifter since he was young, really, really young. And he's still busting tail in the gym. And he came over to help me because he had helped some big weightlifters before. And he saw me, and I was still deadlifting 800 pounds every Sunday. And I was a big, giant, muscles everywhere and abs, not ripped out. I had abs. And I was an athlete, and I was killing myself training. And he saw that I was being taught wrong in the training hall. So the one thing that he did when he came over and we made a deal that, okay, on this day right here, you're not going to do your normally programmed TV station. You are going to work with me. And I said, okay. And he said, whatever I say, whatever you say. And I've still got some photos, and man, I was just in pain. He had me go through some stretches, and he realized that a lot of my stretching wasn't muscle flexibility. I did not need to push the flexibility. And both of the high-level weightlifters that I worked with said the same thing. Do not push the stretching. The idea is just to stay in positions that you're going to be in to your best abilities and work on that very slowly, millimeters at a time. If I get sore from stretching, I can't train. If my joints hurt from stretching, I can't train. So don't force yourself into any kind of position stretching-wise. Work on things that you can do in training. Do it frequently. That's another big thing with weightlifting, is it needs to be done often. So you hear about weightlifters training 2 and 3 times a day. It's not because they want to get rapidly strong. They're reinforcing technical issues. If you were a basketball player and you were shooting a shot, there was something wrong with your shot. If you only came in and shot a basketball from the free throw line once a week, how much better do you think you're going to get? Not much. If you came in every day and shot some shots, you're going to get better. If you went outside of the basketball goal and shot 50, 75 shots, whatever you could recover from, that's important. Whatever you could recover from. If you did that 3 or 4 times a day, imagine how much better your shot would get. And if you stopped every time you got tired, and if you stopped every time your technique got off, so you didn't reinforce bad habits, you would continue to get better at a very rapid pace. So anyway, I keep getting away on my story here. But this gentleman that was helping me, the one thing that he did was he looked to find the one position that I was good at. And that's what you need to think about, is finding that one position that you're good at, that one body position that you are correct at, and work from there. Work off of there. And the one position that I was good at, well, he noted that I was kind of hitting the same position at the start as I was on the catch, as I was when I jerked. So he set up a really high box. So it was somewhere around here. Let me grab a sandbag. Let's see here. I wish this was not wet. See, sandbags are not good just for taking up space on the front porch. He noticed that when I was doing my cleans and a lot of my positions, I was hitting this spot on a regular basis. And while this wasn't the best position, it was a good position, maybe even a great position for me. So as I was doing my cleans, he was having me set up for my cleans right here. My butt is starting to touch. And I know this is not the perfect position. So for any of the weightlifting purists out there, I know this is not the perfect start position. But what I was doing is I was coming up, hitting my spot, and I needed to go back down to here. And you know what happened if I could hit this box? I felt comfortable. I could stop and he could teach me. And then I could stand back up. And then I could jerk back to here and hit my spot. So I went through the last, 45 minutes of me talking to tell you to find that good one position. And I think this is a good idea. If there's a box in your gym, there's a high, tall chair. If you have a chair, you can put something in that when you sit on it, it won't fall back. Start at that position. Start reinforcing a good, positive position. Reinforce the good techniques, the good things that you're doing. Continue to reinforce the good and find the good in those positions. Start your cleans off that box. Find that position. Maybe it needs to be a little bit lower, but this is okay. Work on coming up, hitting your explosion, and with a goal of catching it back down to wherever. And if you're catching it right here, work on forcing the elbows up to go back down here and come back up from there. You can do this, man. I know you can. You're too hard-nosed not to do this. So set it up. Put something on you can sit on. Find that one position that you can hit on a very regular basis, that one spot that you're doing good. And I think this or higher is a great place to start. It's a great place to start for you. Work on it. Get some videos and post them for me. And if it doesn't work out, you just listen to a crazy guy at midnight sitting on his front porch with his trusty steed, right? On Christmas Day. Work on it. Post some videos. Try it out. Reinforce the good positions. Get you a great dog. And let me know how it works. This is the start. And if it works, you have success at this, we'll work on a bunch of other stuff. I'll come up with something else that you can do to continue to get you better and better and better at your power cleans. Hope this helps, man. Have a Merry Christmas.